So we should be starting, Shannon, I guess.
Okay. Well, welcome all to the Fireside. Um, as you might notice from the from Dato's icon going on and me speaking, we're here live from Batumi, Georgia. So, Dato. So today we're talking about the biometric data markets, and we're talking about a very large market with many components. As you were talking earlier, the biometric market size as a whole is something like 33 billion US dollars in 2019, and it is expected to go up to like 100 billion dollars in 2027.
Well, I personally believe that's an underestimation, Shannon.
An underestimation.
Yeah.
And they're looking at it as a steady growth, somewhere around 14 to 15% per year. But you think it's going to skyrocket?
I mean, why should something grow linearly if like markets nowadays grow exponentially? Like technological markets do always. So
that's true. So there's the market size. Everybody, of course, wants a slice of the pie.
yeah.
And then there's a whole aspect of the legal issues behind it. As far as I know, there are some states, there are some U.S. states that basically have laws against biometrics being held by companies and so on and so forth. But internationally speaking, there's privacy laws, but no privacy laws that really target biometric data and privacy. So we're kind of heading into an uncharted place here.
Uncharted domain. Well, actually, I guess biometric is considered to be part of personal identifiable information. It's like a PII.
Mm-hmm.
So it is considered to be a sensitive type of information, and centralized entities working with biometric data actually take responsibility for any kind of leakage, or your biometrics are being used by other companies for their awful deeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Biometrics are one thing in the biometric market as a whole. Biometric technologies is another thing. But what we really want to talk about today is the data markets. And basically, Shen, you've seen the growth of means and ways for companies to, oversee what we're doing online.
Of course.
So, can you tell us about your experience when they injected their personal computers into our lives? Did they anyhow ask you for your information, and did they give you a choice of keeping it private?
Not really. Basically, the quote-unquote choice they give is so you can use our services and allow us to use all your data however we want, or you can choose not to provide the information and not use our service.
And actually, that really defines this principle that basically they're trying to deliver the services without respecting privacy.
Exactly.
And as billions of people are using services that are required in their daily lives because PCs optimize um, our daily routine a hundredth of fold, maybe it became like your life's basic necessity, but without any kind of privacy for what you're exactly doing with it, right? And um, this problem has been like acknowledged even before the widespread uh, mm, of personal computers around the world, but only a few years, like or maybe a decade ago, it started becoming a very hot topic that what we're doing online and how we're interacting with uh, all these quantitative machines should be private and should belong to the people. Now, Chen, do you think what is your opinion about biometrics becoming more and more applied in our lives? Do you think that's going to happen?
No, it will definitely happen. I mean, it is, compared to, let's say, issuing specific passwords.
Mm-hmm.
It's, for, let's say, for company security, logging in, getting to work, um, instead of punching the time card, you use your fingerprint to basically say, yes, here I am at work. This is me. I'm not being substituted by my evil twin brother. A lot of companies are using biometric identification more and more. And, governments are starting to use this more and more. So, I mean, there's no way around it. This will be part of our daily life. And, in a sense, it's, you know, since I'm human, I'm also very lazy, and I'd rather carry around my biometric information rather than, 15 different keys and 18 different membership cards and whatever. So, um, yeah, I think most people will be like that. They will like to have access to the various devices or services through their biometrics rather than, um, other means.
Although biometrics are almost widespread through all flagship devices, they're still like heavily underused by the population. But it's like only a matter of time because it really kind of cuts all the intermediates be that stand before you and basically authorizing into any device that surrounds us.
True.
And um, as we mentioned before, there's like always ongoing revolution of interfaces by which humans interact with computers, right? So from switches and bulbs to keyboards and mouses, then to like sensor touchpads and by authorization to devices and services was mostly done through passwords, like you already mentioned, but um, it can be done and it will be done as a separate thing by enabling your biometric modalities to match you. So imagining only a triple growth of a biometric market in the upcoming 10 years, well, I think it's like a very negative perception. Yeah, well, because like, technological markets, they tend to reach a boiling point and then like a landslide happens and boom, you have like $1 trillion industry or something like this. And while this biometric evolution is continuously getting integrated into our culture and our communities around the world, um, the battle for the transparent, I mean the privacy of this data is still not lost. If we compare it, for example, to the battle of trying to preserve the things that we do online. Yeah. So yeah, like almost everything that we do is tracked and analyzed, parsed, and then we're fed some advertisements. But by authorization, uh, in in some parts, yes, but it's not a very widespread thing to utilize biometrics to understand what products you have to sell to the person or something like that. So as we mentioned already, the problem of your data online is been around for a long time, and together with evolution with biometrics, we come to this crossroads when we have to kind of, before the industry booms and grows and there are data markets of biometric templates going around, we must basically understand the system in which those biometrics will kind of circle around, and we have to make sure that the insert point is private and hopefully decentralized. Yeah. Can you think of ways centralized companies would utilize the biometric data of various people?
Well, they'll pretty much utilize it as they utilize every other piece of information right now, but with more ferocity because they have a grip on the person. You can't just, throw away your computer and start anew. Your biometrics kind of stick with you, so
Yes,
you have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
that they do. Maybe I'm describing an anti-utopian film right now, but imagine a future where I don't know. You basically live in a society, technological advanced society that uses biometrics for bioauthorization pretty much everywhere, and then for some reason you have some problems with the law or some government official or anything. The system, you have a problem with the system, and in instance you are basically blocked out biometrically from every single point that you utilize for somehow technologically. You're not able to order food or pay anything online, order a taxi. Everything is bioauthorized. So isn't that like, sending somebody to the previous age by locking them out of technological things that they own biometrically?
Yeah, and especially if it's done by one central authority, and that central authority, obviously, in this day and age, won't necessarily be your government. Although in some of the larger countries, the government could have a very large hold on it. But I can say that it'll most likely be the big companies like Google or I don't know, Facebook or Apple or Microsoft. It's just it will be more, because the governments right now are not able to do this at a global scale. You know, forget the biometric part. I came here from Japan via Israel, and I'm here in Georgia. I did the COVID vaccination in Japan. They have one format that I use. I went to Israel. They had to use a totally new format, re-register me with a QR code, and I come to here, and I have a QR code and I have the Japanese registration, but of course, legally speaking, I can't go and sit at a restaurant because I don't have the QR code for this country. So, people move around a lot these days. We're not uh, fixed within certain borders, which means we really have to address this globally. And the local governments aren't going to be able to do jack because they're confined to their borders. So, is there going to be some international body that is going to be governing all the biometrics, allowing people to do this or that or the other thing?
Well, if we if we implement the classical variant,
Mm-hmm.
it's some technological companies in superpowers of the world
Mm-hmm.
absorbing all the markets
Mm-hmm.
and then having some treaties with one another. This is like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it works like a factor that kind of stalls the development of the global biometric system of authorization. It sounds pretty scary when you say that, but because a biometric system of a global um, perspective controlled by a centralized entity, it doesn't have to be one entity. It can be like an oligopoly. But still, even if it was 1,000 people only, it would still be scary because like
Mm-hmm.
they control pretty much everything. But I mean, if it's a biometric system for the world, which is private and decentralized and belongs to everyone who validates that system, yeah, that is probably achievable.
Yeah. I mean, it's, as far as I can see, it is, one of the only two paths that we could take um, as far as an entity actually uh, overseeing, well, not necessarily overseeing, but managing the system. One is, what we're trying to do right now, a decentralized system. Everybody has equal ownership. Everybody has equal say, and it is basically built for the people, by the people, and companies just can't come in and try to ravage it. The only other way is if we, you know, say screw national borders and create uh, one government for the entire world, and say, here we are.
That's a more aggressive route there. Yeah, but still, well, it really is a problem of people kind of understanding how valuable their data is and how easy they're being manipulated because they are giving away their data for nothing. But it's not about like just us in this industry or all IT. It's like even if we understand that, it's not really going to change anything. What is really important is like delivering this idea to children. So they're like, when they grow up, they're like, yeah, that's like a basic necessity for living in a world of technological advancements that are like life defining. And again, like the difference in technological heights that they are going to be in the future can determine to what species you are adhered. Because of, people from before and those people who don't have access to various technological advancements are basically living in a completely different world. And many people today still don't understand that they give out their data and it really kind of gives all the power to centralized entities that control them. And that is a notion that life, all people around us understand that killing a person is a bad thing. But was it really like that? Not really. Various nations perceived it differently. You could ask Vikings or other people about this notion. But then, um, philosophy changed us and our perception. And now killing people is just bad. And pretty much everyone knows it. So,
And legally speaking, stealing is bad. But having said that, all of our I wouldn't say all of our, but all of our data that is online gets stolen and used and resold, and profits being made. Well, here we are with not really being on the receiving end.
But I mean, is it really stealing if you don't really value the thing that you're being stolen off?
That's true. Well, actually, technically speaking, yes. Having said that,
But I mean, and also another thing that some people care, and they care really tremendously about their privacy, and because most of the people don't care, don't know, or will never know, their like internal value of the information that they try to maintain private decreases because like okay, you're not giving your private data, but nine other dudes are basically, and that's why you're not your data is not that valuable because of that, because again there's a lot of other people who are gladly giving away everything that they own. So the very existence of the data markets in a transparent informational environment, how can you sell something that like sell them? Can you sell air just because someone tries to preserve it somewhere? That's the same question.
yeah. Well, coming back to the point of knowing the value of it, it goes back to actually one of the things that you mentioned in the interview I did with you. And it's coming to realize that, this biometric information or the ownership of your biometric information is a basic human right. And, um, and that there's tremendous value in that. And without recognizing that, that really is a right that only you own.
For sure.
Um, yeah, so this whole process of safeguarding this biometric information. Let's say what we're doing for Humanode. So you uh, log in. Your stake is your biometric uh, modality information. However, we do not hold that data. It basically doesn't leave your uh, eventually it will not even leave your computer. And you know you there is a major layer of protection. So working to achieve that is one aspect. The other aspect is really in the education of society, so wider society as a whole, that this biometric information is extremely valuable private information that you don't want to sell for some non-existent money that um,
Mhm.
or a token that will disappear.
Yeah. So we come to the sense that basically the very appearance of valuable biometric markets it is basically a problem of knowledge of people and like widespread education about it. But really, like I see several sides of biometric markets when they appear in terms of the data that goes around it. Um, First one is pretty simple, and I think that market already exists. It's the market of data sets. So basically, everyone who's dealing in convolutional neural network biometrics or other neural network biometrics, they require a data set to train the neural network to distinguish anything like your biometric modality, basically, that is being used for authorization. And yeah, that data already goes around. Like companies are accumulating faces, for example, as a modality, and not just some like random faces, specific packs like um, Asian, Southeast Asian males of this age, um, and like in this motion or this distance away from camera, like very specific types of data. And the more specific, the better the quality of the training models that, in a sense, you're kind of having almost the same distance when you're doing that biometric authorization. So yeah, it can be very like quality data and just some trash data, but still. And yeah, this like some there's a market inside the biometric market where companies are just licensing, gathering up data sets and selling them to other biometric companies that are using them to train their neural networks. So this is like the first like part of biometric data markets, basically those data sets going around. And well, I still haven't seen like a marketplace of biometric data, which is also a good project. If anyone listening to this, do it. So like where you could easily just go online and buy some data sets for yourself. It's always an inconvenient call me and have this try to strike a deal with me going back and forth on the price. So yeah, but the second type of biometric data markets, which I think the companies from other industries would be interested in, is the behavioral biometric data markets. So imagine like we have computer vision that uh, photographs you or makes a video about your face. And then we feed that to a neural network. And now we're trying to understand the pattern of eyebrows of people who got buy more red sneakers than others.
Okay.
So, and like, yeah, the physiognomics of a human being is just a hypothesis that it works. But I mean, there are many other like facial traits, movements of your face, like even your body, that can give additional information to what to do with you, what to sell you, who are you, what happened to you, and
Actually, where are you from? You know, coming from Japan, I'm in a country where people do not, use their hands to express things that much.
mhm.
Your basic mode is poker face, and you look for very small traits like a small twitch in the eye or a small twitch of lip or curl of the lip or just very small traits. And you have to be sensitive to that. That's how I go back to the States. And let's say when I went back for high school or anything, it's like everybody was like an open book because facial expressions are all over the place. Hands are all over the place. The body shows a lot of motion, and you can tell. Oh, okay, this guy's an American. Oh, this guy is a little more moderate. He's probably a Brit, or even the Asian population. The Chinese from northern cities are different from those of the southern cities, and there's a whole lot of behavioral science behind the whole thing. But if you're able to, let's say, you take a camera and be scanning the streets, and by checking the various traits and expressions, or be scanning a cafe and saying, okay, how many people are here from Beijing, how many people are from Tokyo, and how many people are from Texas.
Actually, you can, if you being really precise about your face or some people's faces, you can actually determine what products they utilize in their daily lives. From makeup, products that you can place right into the girl's phone after she buy authorized somewhere, or to maybe some illness that the person is going through, or some behavioral trait like smoking, or I don't know, anything.
Wouldn't it be scary if you're just walking down the street? We've discussed projects like this where, basically using your data on the phone or your history to have personalized ads, and they do have similar things. Personalized ads show up on the TV screens you're walking by.
Well,
So, and you're
yeah.
walking by it, and suddenly, they're detecting the illnesses that you have, and suddenly say, if you want to have cancer operation, go to this hospital.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my
It's
God.
like, damn, wrong type of advertisements today.
Yeah. Well, and there's like also we're talking now about facial modalities, right? But I mean, if there's an iris scan, then it's the best ad seller for the ophthalmologists.
Mhm.
They'll like if there's something wrong with your eye, you're getting an invite ticket to the nearest hospitals to spend your money. And also, there are other types of biometrics that are, well, they use it as a passive way to determine something, maybe that you're alive or that you are you, is basically like measuring you in while you're going through the street, like your whole body. This is being pretty much used by every developed country in every city, but not that widespread yet. But basically, yes, it's like you being a biometric modality as a whole, and in combination with your um, constant authorizations to somewhere, including you going down the street, you going to a market, buying something, going out, going somewhere else, going through the street, and you get like this tracking of where you're going, what you're doing, and where have you authorized with your biometrics. So if it is a system that easily connects the dots, you're basically, I don't know, constantly surrounded by things that can provoke you to buy something or push you to do anything. You're basically, if there's a controller behind there, he can easily make you do anything he wants.
Remember those vending machines, the digital vending machines that they had in Tokyo Station? I don't remember if you used them, but standard vending machines in Japan, you have the cans of the various juices, and you have hot and cold and whatever, and you just push a button and what you want. But these digital ones, instead of having the actual cans, they have digital image, and some of them are larger than others, popped up as recommended. And basically, the company does is it uses an AI, and for over the past 5 years, it's been learning. So it says, okay, male, 30 to 35 years old, temperature is this high. He will most likely want this type of juice.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's like an ordinary utilization of biometrics, and I mean, if there are vending machines like that now, imagine what happens in 10 years.
Yeah, and then imagine when they tie it directly to you.
Mhm.
The last time you bought this, perhaps you'll buy this again. Or how
Yeah.
about you try your new variety this year?
Yeah, and some company in the future will probably do that and raise billions of dollars. Yeah, but hopefully there's no centralized entity behind it for a while. Um, and besides, like the data sets for training neural networks and this type of behavioral biometrics, I would definitely say that there's like a separate biometric market. I'm making it separate because it's a huge market concerning the medical usage of the data for research and medical purposes. For example, um, like things like intelligent blood, like when they add special markers into some bloodstream and you have like small informational endpoints inside the human's body that go into your organs, and you're able to kind of see what's going on there. So this is actually like biometric data. Even like maybe some people have conditions with their heart or something. Biometrics that are giving to them is also a very valuable type of information, and that is necessary for research, and a lot of academic papers can be built on top of this info. But at the same time, some pharmaceutical companies, some companies that are dealing in medical care can just get this for free. Although maybe it's good. Maybe it's a good thing that they do. It's just, but still, they can, and um, it's not just some. You know, it's about people's lives. It's like really something that you're not being able to avoid if you're having difficulties with your health.
Yeah. Well, ideally speaking, well, realistically speaking, there's really no way to avoid it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally speaking, there's a way that if my biometric modalities were being used for something, I'd get a small percentage of the
Yes,
fees.
at least.
At least, say, yes, I'll allow you to use my biometric modalities for this research or that research, but, the
Mm-hmm.
minimal rate is.
But how do you do that with products that they like tell you to buy? Is it like a cashback for using your biometrics to sell something to you, or how it works?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like you get a referral for yourself.
Yes.
10% off.
Yeah.
Okay, we're about 40 minutes into this show right now. We have one question in Telegram. It says, what's the way Humanode used to guarantee that user node control is the user nodes control its biometric data, even in case of an update that allows the network to unveil some information, but the users disagree?
What are the ways you want to use the using that controls?
So,
To answer this question, we gotta understand the very nature of the um, network updates and how they kind of go. So, what type of networks again updates are you talking about? Are you talking about blockchain? Because basically, this is a decentralized network, and validators separately kind of agree to update to new versions. So, please, can you define what you meant by that?
in the meanwhile, we got a question from Andre. Will it be possible to lift biometrics ban via consensus, like when users collectively decide that the violator has been punished enough?
Well, that's a very good question. And I think that it has been addressed by us already. So the problem of this question is basically if there is a procedure that allows to unban somebody from a blacklist, it means that there is a possibility for groups of people to gather up and unban other bad people. So for now, no. But if we come up with an intelligent mechanism to do it, probably yes.
Yeah, I guess it would, depend on how, severe the action is, or, the penalty is.
Well, you see, um, you're already taking up a point of judging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like it breaks the whole paradigm of.
Just have to change the protocol settings, and that's a big deal, right?
Protocol setting?
Yeah, for example, if you think that that person should be unbanned because he spent enough time in the ban, well, you change the protocol rules.
So you don't
all
address
the
a single
time.
person.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
you shouldn't address a single person.
how about this scenario? So let's say uh, the system determines that, let's say, Dato really screwed up,
Oh my god.
and that he received a lifetime ban.
Cool.
But then we find out later that actually he really didn't screw up, and that it was a glitch in the system.
Okay.
But he's still banned. Is there any way to unban him?
Well, I've been banned from the validator set. I haven't been banned from using money streams or anything.
Mhm.
you're not able to ban my wallet. You're just not able to. I'm just not able to go into the validation, but it's okay. I'll find other things to do in life. Well, deletion the system. Well, nobody can escape that, but what's the probability of it?
True.
On a 7 billion population, yeah, probably probability is quite ruining somebody's lives, but I'm really sorry.
But if it's a bug, it should be fixed, right?
Yeah, if it's a bug.
Well, yeah, but how will you unfix my blacklist?
If it was a bug.
So? I don't think so. I just like,
Well, there's a process for blacklisting. There's usually a process for whitelisting.
well, that's the thing. Okay, well, there should be a system built that kind of presumes that it can be has determined this person to be blacklisted by bug. That's impossible. How can the system know that it's running a bug and it's just transferred variables to another class? That's it. Okay, well, that's a good question, Andre. Thank you very much.
And it's something that will be contemplated. So do we have any other questions here? If you have a question, feel free to type it in Telegram, or we can unmute you here and you can speak up. And let's see if there's a way to, I'm going to allow people to unmute themselves here. One moment. Okay, so everybody has been kind of unmuted, as in you can click the talk button and ask questions if you want. Andre, if you have any other follow-up questions? If not, so Dato, how, I mean, we see the world going down this path right now. And of course, we're trying to, in a sense, make a stance by making a shield and a safe haven at the same time. Hopefully, turning this into the largest decentralized biometric validation network in the world. Hopefully, V1. But how do you see the existence of, let's say, what Humanode is trying to do, be a how should I say, be a beacon of hope?
I think this way, probably. So most like Humanode is not really striving to become the one biometric provider for the world. No, where first of all, in my opinion, the biometric market should be decentralized as possible. Like the more modalities, the better. But we gotta be sure that they are delivering the principles of uniqueness and understanding your, well, liveness detection, basically, right? So creation of this, marketplace for biometric companies to allow the use of their biometric modalities is key. But most importantly, the way that the computations are done and all the manipulations with data have to be private, have to be decentralized, and we have to prove that they are really private and decentralized. And I think Humanode delivers this, should become the beacon of delivering these two qualities, not only just to the end users, but also to biometric companies that exist out there. Because it's like this: you create a biometric modality, you train it to be good, and then you connect it to Humanode to provide uniqueness and liveness detection, because we have checked that you really do it. And basically, Humanode is controlled by nobody, but it's people, and all the power is divided among the people equally. So, based on that notion, you achieve, like, well, the biggest decentralization that I can potentially perceive, probably. So all this privacy of the data is as much decentralized and as much private as possible. But we're still working on a software-based bioauthorization schemes. Our guys are making very good progress, and we all personally believe in their work. But also, like, privacy can already be done through various trusted execution environments and hardware-based privacy for now.
For now.
Yeah, so basically, biometric market decentralization plus, this ownage of biometrics by everyone at the same time, but nobody knows what they own. So, yeah, something like that.
Okay, we have about 9 more minutes left here. Do we have any further questions? Let's see. Perhaps, here's an easy name, Jack. Do you have any questions, any comments? It can be about today's topic, or we're actually opening the floor to anything now. So,
Well, thank you for asking. So I think maybe I'm here today for listening to this meeting, for learning something from you guys. Yeah, so I have no questions for now. Thank you for asking anyway. Yeah.
Thank you, Jack. Glad to see you here. But I have a question to a biometric specialist among us. I've okay. So yeah, I have a question for Sasha. Basically, Sasha, what is the most like? I don't really know the answer to this question, but which modality out there, and why do you think, can be the most private? Well, maybe. What do you think? Well, it's just an opinion, not like an internal question.
I think internal ones.
Internal ones. Yeah. So internal biometrics being the most private ones, because they cut off a lot of external vectors of attack, which is pretty much very logical. Thank you, Sasha.
so I mean, there's, the infrared iris scan the veins. There's, finger veins, which is another one that
Mhm.
is considered to be extremely secure, but
Install an infrared laser to your VR device. Boom, I have your eyes. I mean, the latest version of the headsets that have come out, like VX, oh my god, how is it called? XR, Vigar XR, it's called. It's like a $4,000 like virtual reality headset. It has very sophisticated eye tracking. Like when you're moving your pupils, it follows it to adjust your focus. An easy vector attack for an iris, I think. Mhm. So, yeah, doing like computations in a trusted environment is okay, and delivering software-based bioauthorization as well. But limiting just like external factors of someone taking your biometrics from your biological, store of your biometric data and not digital one, that is like also a big question. Sasha, will we ever find a deterministic internal biometric without?
Hope so.
Hope so as well.
Okay, down to 5 more minutes here. Open to more questions. Perhaps Shin Puzzle, if you are available, if you have any questions.
Hi. Yes, I have a question, a follow-up question, really. So, is there any plan to implement like some kind of consent of the person that there is registering to be a node? Uh, I know you understand it's kind of a problem, right? But I would like to know if you already has something planned on that.
You mean consent?
To
Yes, exactly.
become a node, yes.
Yes.
Yes, to become a node, basically, you have to have your full consent, and you'll be going through a fairly strict process to verify that you actually are a human being that is alive. So the liveness detection element would be very heavy, and I believe that it is very different from, let's say, somebody who's signing up to be a user to use wallet or services. So just because you've signed up to become, a user of the wallet doesn't mean you're automatically going to become a node. There are various requirements, let's say hardware requirements or server requirements to sign up to be a node. So in that sense, yes, there's a process of consent, and more importantly, even through that process, your biometric data is not available to us or anyone node, shall we say.
Yeah, basically the technology we're using is eventually GDPR compliant because of its privacy, both in the first and the next version. But yeah, there are still some agreements that we have to publish and take the consent of the user, sure. But I mean, it's a regular thing to be in the frames of legal around the world.
I hope that answers
Thanks.
your question.
Yes, that answers like part of my question, but some of it was also, is there any mechanism to prevent someone from uploading someone else's data, even if the person like is already is live and has the liveness signals? So that's where was more the point. But I think that if the process is hard, I believe that it might cover some of that, right?
Are you referring to trying to inject the feed from an existing video or a photograph?
Yes, or maybe like um, ask someone to be present with you while registering, and then using that to have a node. But I'm not sure if it applies exactly to the process, to be honest.
So basically, we're utilizing different modules that determine whether you're trying to inject the feed into the system or not. It works side by side with the neural network that defines your biometric traits. Even if you try to run it on the virtual machine, that will work.
And if you try to register under somebody else's biometrics, let's say having that person by your side, well, that's registering that person and not yourself.
Because you're not applying any additional information. It's just your biometrics and that's it. No KYC, nothing. There is like an unknown biometric entity, and all the system knows that yes, it has been the same entity or not, or no, it's not alive, or yes, it is alive. Basically, that's two booleans inside the system, and no other data.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for coming to this edition of Fireside. Our time has come, so we'll be seeing you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you once again. Thank you, Dato.
Thank you very much, Shen. Thank you, everyone who came. And yeah,
Thank
see you in
you.
2 weeks. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a nice day.